Well, here we go into a new era for sim racing here on RaceRoom Racing Experience. A new car, a new format for an all-electric series courtesy of the CUPRA E-Racer. A short season to end the year begins here in the Kansai region of Japan at the city of Suzuka, the 5.8-kilometer racetrack of the Suzuka International Racing Course. The first of 3 qualifiers to get into a grand final at the end of the season. 3 short, action-packed, thrilling races ahead of us in this very tricky, powerful, all-electric car that will be all season here in the CUPRA E-Racing Competition, taking you through the entirety of the season. Myself, Lewis McGlade, joining me in the booth, Chris Buxton. Hello.
Hello to you, Lewis. It's great to be involved in this event, treading new grounds in the sim racing world. So this is where our qualifying events are going to be. Suzuka tonight, Shanghai, it will be in 2 weeks' time, and Dubai in 4 weeks from now. And there will also be 2 time attack events. They're not going to be streamed. They are just dealt with on the leaderboards. And then the grand final on the 7th of December. Top 6 drivers from each event will go through to the grand final. 3 races per qualifying event. So 9 races for our drivers to score as many points as they possibly can. Even points in qualifying to every single step of the event is very, very important. 3 for pole, 2 for second, and 3 for the third. 1 for the third place spot, and then 15 down to 1, as you can see displayed there. So the qualifying for Grid 1 will be getting underway, and that's how Race 1 will be decided. Then the top 10 reversed for Race 2, and then same again for Race 3. The top 10 from Race 2 will then be reversed. So, but look at the amount of money on the line. It's not a bad amount of money for the top spot, just for a few rounds, but they are going to have to fend off some very heavy names.
Yeah, a thrilling season that I'm sure we'll see. And for those of you that want to take part in that final, take part in the qualifier, you can do so by joining RaceRoom Racing Experience, downloading it through Steam, and taking part in the competition to get yourself qualified for the next round. Our rounds today, though, here at Suzuka, you speak of the strong drivers. For those of you that watch a fair amount of RaceRoom content that we've uploaded over the last couple of years, you'll recognize a few of these names. Gergo Baldi in second place, an incredible driver in the number 2 car. We've also got Benz Banki, up-and-comers, the likes of Gianmarco Fiducci as well, Martin Barner, Julian Kunter, one of the old guard, as it were. It's quite a list of drivers that we've got here. Jaroslav Honzik as well, of fame YouTube. Being a VIP driver, though, he is unable to score points this evening, and we'll see how he plays into things when it comes to shaking up the grid. Because I don't know about you, Chris, we know that Jaroslav Honzik is pretty fast. I think he might be the thorn in the side of someone trying to qualify, trying to get inside the top 6 tonight.
I have absolutely no doubt that Mr. Honzik is going to make a very big nuisance of himself on this grid. You're absolutely right, Lewis. He is blindingly quick. I've had the good fortune of commentating on Mr. Honzik. Voila, there he is. For a number of years now, and he is fast in anything with an engine, or in this case, anything that is electric. Doesn't matter what, as long as it has wheels and a steering wheel, he is blindingly quick on it. But I don't think he's going to be able to run off into the distance as he's accustomed to doing in some other kits, although he's now just showing off. I think he's just getting onto the grass and now off into the sand. So that's purely his kind of style. This is only practice, so it's very consequential at this point. But he's got the likes of Martin Stefenko to deal with. That's another name I'm really keeping an eye on. Again, that's another name I've been accustomed to for a number of years in a number of different series as well. Again, another blindingly fast driver who's been at the forefront of Formula 1 esports of all things as well, as our first qualifying session is now underway.
Yeah, 10 minutes ahead of us and a track wide open, everyone on it at the same time, picking your way through and having sort of fair track distance is going to be absolutely crucial because it's a long lap. We're talking over 2 minutes, only slightly though. It's 2 minutes and 1 second is the kind of times we're expecting a low 2-minute one for this session. Basically, how it's going to work for those of you new to RaceRoom is that once the timer hits 0, the session is done. No time to finish your lap. You must make sure that your laps are all completed within the 10-minute period, which means realistically, with it being 2 minutes and 1 second, you effectively have 4 laps, which in this sense, I'm going to assume is probably going to be an out lap, a time lap, out lap, time lap. Is basically how I'm doing, because they can escape once they've crossed the line. They'd have to do an in lap. It's going to be tricky, though, to make sure that you've got your own space, maybe a little bit of slipstream, although I don't think it'll be too crucial around here. We've got these new cars that are very tricky to drive. They're very, very heavy. very understeery, very powerful on the rear wheel drive. A lot of power. You saw the stats of how quick they can accelerate, 3 seconds up to 100k. They are monstrously fast. A proper racing car, a real thoroughbred when it comes to the speed and the potential that it drops out. It's going to be a tricky qualifying session. I think we're going to see a few surprises even this early in the season.
Absolutely. This is one of the quickest drivers we have seen, Christopher Hugfeldt of Sweden, representing the Virtual Drivers TX3, a very long, established, very prestigious e-racing team. And just look at the achievements he's had over a number of years. So this is someone that was maybe a little older than some of the drivers on the grid, has got a lot to back up his previous performance. He'll be in the green CUPRA, as you can see in the background of the shot. But yeah, this is what we were talking about, the strength of the field. This isn't just your rock up and give it a try kind of league. These are very seasoned drivers. So whilst we do invite anyone to jump in and have a crack at it, absolutely we would, but it really will be the best of the best that are going to get through to these qualifying events.
Yeah, Hugfeldt took the top spot in the pre-qualifier. Normally a spot reserved, at least over the last few months in racing competition, to this man, Bence Banke. He's topped plenty of those pre-qualifiers to get in, but a new car and a new way of driving, maybe not quite favouring the strong driver that is Bence Banke. We ride on board with him up through the S's section. We'll slow everything down a little bit here. Look at how much he's kind of wrestling the car through, trying to be very, very smooth at the moment. Of course, victorious here in the CUPRA Sim Racing Series not too long ago, and looking pretty strong as it is. I'd suspect he's going to be towards the top end of this qualifying session. Throws it in to the Degner, slows it down for the second one, hits that apex nicely. He's looking like a pretty good lap here for Bence Banke. One thing to note with this, counter to previous competitions that we've done, or for the most part anyway, a lot of these sessions are fixed setup, so the setup is the same for everyone on the grid. However, here, that is not the case. The setup is open. You can change what you wish. You can change how the cars regen, which obviously will change how it is basically kind of off throttle and in the braking zones, and obviously how much energy you have come the end of the lap and end of the race. All those kind of things, it changes the balance of the car. So it's wide open in that sense. You're going to see a lot of the drivers that you'd normally see maybe a little bit further down the order. Some of the old guard, we've spoke before about Julian Kunze, how he's a driver that loves an open setup. He's not really a fan of the massively fixed setup, does very well in that. I think we're going to see him return to the front of racing competition.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a prime opportunity for those that maybe don't have the kind of prestigious backing behind them to really upset the established guard, as you say. Now, these cars behave really, really differently to pretty much anything else that these drivers would have driven. Whenever these guys go into a GT type of championship, as we see Kunz getting the first... well, you did say it was a 201, and that's exactly what we've just seen from the gentleman at the top of the screen. But, of course, Banke would get the top spot straight away, only by 600ths of a second. So a yawning chasm, of course, in these kind of conditions. But these cars behave really, really differently to pretty much anything they would have driven. Now, there's going to be a lot of transferable skill between different simulators if they're running GT cars. GT3, by and large, is GT3. You know what you expect. If you go to RaceRoom or iRacing or any other sim, you kind of know what you're going to expect. There's differences between the sims. Of course there are. These Cupras, though, are amazingly rapid off the line. You were kind of touching on it earlier, that when you wiggle your big toe, it just dumps all the power into the rear wheels. So, and it takes off like a whippet. These things are so quick to accelerate. And a track like this is going to need a lot of discipline of that right foot, because you start to squeeze the right foot too quickly in the S's, as we were seeing Banke really navigating those really, really smoothly. Stefenko gets to the top of the list. That was a little close. This is where the disciplined drivers that are really going to shine through. Now, there's always going to be an element of discipline, no matter what you're driving, no matter what series you're in. Of course there is. But there are those that rely more on the heavy right foot. They try and not necessarily bully their way to the front, but they rely on just raw pace. Whereas, you've touched on this, off air before we started, Lewis, that anyone that tries to just run off into the distance and hope that they build up enough gap, that is almost certainly going to bite them in a situation like this.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot of people in that sense. If they are going to run away at any point, it'll be in the latter stage of the race. We've only got 10-minute races here because the energy is so tight when it comes to these cars. On board with Christopher Ogpel, setting a massively fast time. Great middle sector. Fastest time in practice prior to this, which was actually much faster than the pre-qualifier to get in, was a 2:01.2 from Stefanko, topping the session. He's done a 1:590 at the moment, which is about to be smashed by the virtual drivers by TX3 man. Christopher Hogfeld to the line. What's it going to be? It should be a low 1. It is a low 1. That is a fantastic time. A 2:01.429 puts himself over a tenth and a half clear at the top. Will that stand though for the next 3 and a bit minutes? This is the last lap for Gianmarco Fiducci. He is yet to set a time, down in 23rd place. The driver's yet to set one. Pinches, Simone Prater, Bo Dixon, who we'd expect to see towards the front as well. He was very good last year, maybe struggled a little bit this season. Rafael Camelo, Jaroslav Honzik also yet to set a time. So a few drivers that we've not seen on that timesheet at the moment include this man, Gianmarco Fiducci, coming across the first sector. It's not looking so good, Chris. 2 tenths already down so far.
And it's nearly impossible to make up that kind of gap over the day. It's of course doable. I mean, you have to have an absolutely godly next 2 sectors to make up a gap like that. I mean, look at the gap in between each competitor. You know, Stefanko at the moment is 1.5 tenths off the back of Hogfeld, as we now look to Banky, who's still that 500th of a second off the back of Stefanko. Kuntz, 600ths of a second off the back of Banky. Then there is a bit of a gap. There's 3 tenths there. But then look at the next 4 or 5 positions in the same tenth of a second. Scolari, Barney, Markovic and Baldi, all within a tenth of a second. And that's now Pinces that has jumped up 4 thousandths of a second ahead of Kuntz, who was one of the early pole sitters. Wow. Oh, no.
Oh, that's bad for
wrong.
Banky.
That's gone horribly wrong for Banky. You saw how the car just twitched. Now, he would have been just running into... He may well have maybe backed off a little bit, but I bet you anything he was just a little bit too greedy on the loud pedal, trying to come through. What was that? It was 130R, wasn't it? And then the tails just got no chance of hanging on to too many horses. Even at speed, these things still want to dump a lot of horsepower through the rear wheels. As we now look at our guest driver, Mr. Jaroslav Honzik. He's pretty much famous no matter what he drives and where he drives it. But there, you just saw, he just caught that apex by a mere margin. Look how it upset the car. These things, as amazing as they are, can very easily be agitated when they hit a curb at speed. So, again, the disciplined drivers are going to come through.
Yeah, it's not a really good first sector for Jaroslav Honzik, but he's yet to set a time, same as Simone Prater, so I'm sure he'll be pushing for it anyway. That lap, that instant there from Banky, big as it was, because as much as he had enough time to start another lap, he's never going to have enough time to finish it, so he's already pulled out of that one. Jaroslav Honzik will have time to finish this, although just about. Like a few seconds left on the clock. I think there's still a few people out. Stefanko, he's bailed from his. The top 6 are not on circuit. Scolari, who's down in 7th place, is still on circuit. We'll see if he can set a decent time. Gergo Baldi has pulled out of his session. He's down only in 10th place. So really not a good qualifying from Gergo Baldi. And I don't think he'll be too impressed with that. What's Honzik going to do? Losing further time through the second sector. I think it's going to be somewhere towards the back end of the grid, maybe around where Bo Dixon is. Let's have a look as he crosses the line. It's 24th only for him. So first pole position, first blood of the season then goes to our top pre-qualifier. 3 points to Christopher Hogfeld. Very nice work, Chris.
Very nice indeed. And all the points are going to count. As a reminder, there's 3 races now that they're going to take part in. There's a 3-minute warm-up in between each race. So they're not just dumped straight into it. But they will have, once the grid is formed, they'll have 60 seconds to make any alterations they wish. Based on the performances they've just had, there may well be little tweaks they want to go through. And this warm-up session, they'll get half a lap in at best, even if they absolutely floor it for now. So, this is just to iron out any last-minute alterations they want to make. But... yeah, that was an absolutely stormer from Hogfeld. 1.5 tenths over someone like Stefanko. That's a big benchmark he's put down.
It most certainly is. And in 2 minutes, we will find out who is going to win that very first race here in the qualifiers at Suzuka. 3 races ahead of us this evening and points up for offer in all of those places. Before we get to it, though, let's take a little look, an ad from our sponsor, CUPRA. The preparation phase for race 1 of the evening then, and after a thrilling qualifying session, and we're in warm-up now, we're in that last bit, the tension is high, but you get that little breather, that little reprieve. There is no warm-up lap or anything like that. They go straight from this into the race. Chris, it's going to be a bit nervy out there, isn't it?
Yeah, again, all of these drivers have taken part in major competitions before, but it doesn't stop the nerves from kicking in. That's someone being very exploratory on the outside of Spain. But yeah, the nerves are still going to be there. Even the likes of those at the top, Hugfeld, Stefanko, even Honzig. Honzig probably has every right not to take it too seriously. He's an invited driver, but as well as everybody else, as soon as there he is, just designed to park up right in the middle of the S's.
Practice start going uphill is an interesting choice, considering it's a downhill
start. It's a downhill start. Well, Jaroslav Honzik, I think we'll all agree, as he does a lovely donut on camera, I think we'll all agree he's not one to follow tradition. He is not one to do things in the way that everybody else does. So an uphill practice start doesn't surprise me.
Well, why not? Why not? I'm sure you get quite a lot of wheel spin from that. Of course, these do deliver quite an awful lot of power, a lot of torque to the rear wheels. Getting them across the line off that, because it's downhill, should be a little bit easier. But we spoke before that it's going to be pretty difficult, considering they can't exactly rev before the line like that, because you need to save all the energy you can.
Yeah, but will they remember that come green light time? Anyone that does the usual revving of the engine to try and just stir them up and maybe get in the heads of their competitors, they might forget that. They'll only forget it once, mind you.
Yes, energy conservation will be the key thing of today. Race 1 then coming up in the CUPRA E-Racing Competition, the inaugural round here at Suzuka, a brand new era for sim racing. Lewis McGlade alongside me, Chris Buxton, for the season. We are expecting an absolute thriller. Who is going to take that first race victory? Christopher Hogveld's already scored 3 points already. Theoretically, the championship leader. I say theoretically, it's confirmed.
He is.
based on the 3 points he's already scored. But who is going to be taking the 15 points here up for offer in race 1? You can see the grid coming to fruition there. Everyone hitting that race button, getting those nerves out. I think some people will wait until the very last moment to hit the grid, not just for energy, but more so for nerves. You won't be using energy at the moment. Everyone will be sat in neutral thinking, do I have enough to get to that checkered flag? Well, we're about to find out. Christopher Hogveld on pole position from Bence Banky, then Adam Pinches just behind us. Well, the lights are all on. A new era. We go electric here in Suzuka, and it's a great launch from the Swede. Clear and through up into the lead. Bence Banky behind. Adam Pinches directly behind him as well. And Kunze getting into the rear end of Pinches. Everyone seems to be pretty clean there in the background. Martin Barner on the inside of Gianmarco Fiducci won't be too happy to get muscled out into 6th place, as Markovic as well, part of that to the back end in 7th place, and that beautiful red and red livery, all snaking their way through, not trying to use any more energy than they have to. Decent launch, Chris.
Yeah, that was indeed. We've already had one victim. Stefanko seems to have vanished. He should have been the one on the front row.
Oh,
that's someone off. Who was that who got rather barged off?
Zerebiak.
Oh, no. And there he is, all the way to the bottom of the field, Zerebiak. The pole now down to the 24th and final spot. But so, yes, Stefanko did disconnect on the way to the grid. That is a great shape. Oh, look at the fighting going on behind Viducci. There's Markovic and Ottaviani. Having a great old scrap. But this is, of course, the crucial spot. Yes, there are 3 races. There's, of course, points on the line. But this is the bubble. This is where that's like the minimum, that 6th place spot. But if we jump back only really a second or so, back to 12th of Simone Prete, the Italian for Absolute Motorsport Racing Team, really having to fend off very, very hard. Luciano Bedin, nearly being pushed into Spoon. But again, it's all going to be down to that discipline. They want to defend, they want to attack, yes, but they've got to think about that all-crucial energy stories you were mentioning earlier, Lewis.
Yeah, and look behind. They'll all be in region at the moment, but look behind. Gogo Baldi, only 14th place. It has not worked out for Gogo Baldi. Yaroslav Honzik moving his way up inside the top 20 into 18th place. We focus our attention on one of 5 virtual drivers by TX3 pilots. This one, Christopher Hugfeld, from the pole position, about to complete the first lap in the lead. 5 laps ahead of us here. He is already trying to break away from Banky, and maybe he won't appreciate that too much when it comes to the checkered flag. He's built a gap of nearly a second on Bence Banky over that first lap. And with the way they've got to save energy, maybe that's not so much. We look backwards from Barner to Fiducci, not able to make anything stick into the first couple of corners. This we saw a little while ago in the CUPRA Sim Racing series, that a lot of the moves that happened here, whether we're going to see the same kind of stuff, happened in turn 2. So they come through the first corner. Into that second part, though, that was where Bence Banky put on a few moves back in the day. Gogo Baldi way down the order from where he'd want to be, though, Chris. Oh, it's not looking good for him. He needs to get inside the top 10. He needs to get that all-important reverse grid position for the second race.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine that he's aiming for that at this point. He's probably going to try and settle for that, but he would want to be towards the point-scoring part, which is the top 10 of the field. But like you say, that reverse grid pole could well work well for him. It's a dangerous gamble to do. There is our VIP, our guest driver, Yaroslav Honzik. So trying to make his way through, and he's that relaxed. He's reaching forward and clicking on something. Goodness me, nothing ever bothers, nothing ever ruffles the feathers of Honzik. Now jumping up to 7th position, just outside of that all crucial top 6. But look at that side by side. That is Barner and is that Fiducci? Yes. So they're having a bargain, for that. Now they're already in that crucial top 6. This is more Fiducci trying to give himself some gap over Ottaviani behind him. I would imagine that Barno is probably not too fussed about being in 5th position, although further into the top 6 is preferable, certainly. But the top 6 is the minimum destination. It's Fiducci that is trying to put the move on. Here we go on the inside of 130R. Oh. That would have been dangerous and death, more than likely, if he'd actually committed to that. And this is what he was afraid of. That's Ottaviani that's gotten a good run on him, probably because he's holding, the battle between him and Barner is slowing him up. Ooh, as he's nearly pushing Barner. The Hungarian through the Cassia Triangle. There is, I would imagine that a lot of the fighting we're going to see is going to be right here, this 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th kind of position. Here comes Fiducci, then he's going to get the inside run on Barner for 5th place. Oh, Barner's having none of that, but Ottaviani is right there. He's shown he's got the pace to try and do something about it. Oh, no! That's impactful, Fiducci. Oh, my goodness. They all managed to hang on to that, but look at the pack behind. One mistake, and you're going to be catapulted out of the top 10.
And unlike in a lot of touring car style series where you're running a front wheel drive, if you have contact like that, you almost you save it, in air quotes, by effectively jamming on the throttle. In this kind of car, no, that will not save you at all. You'll be spinning all week long if you light it up like that. For Gianmarco Fiducci, desperate to move himself out of fire from Ottaviani. We ride on board with Markovic, staring at Ottaviani, at Fiducci, at Barner. They've dropped off the back of Julian Kunzer. Of course, Martin Barner, recent signing to AAA Esports. He's the teammate, and then Princess. Oh, left the door wide open there for Markovic to sneak down the inside of the hairpin, but the driver's going to favour Ottaviani off there. Virtual drivers by TX3. All of the virtual drivers by TX3 drivers, we've tried putting them in their respective colour. Obviously, the more like bluey, turquoisey, teal type colour. So they're all kind of in that vein. Fighting very, very hard there with the red and red of Markovic.
Yeah, Markovic was really trying to capitalise on just that tiny mistake. It wasn't he was just went in a little bit too high. It wasn't that bad, but it was enough to give Markovic the opportunity to try and take that 7th spot. And Ottaviani has successfully defended that. Look at this pack. I mean, this is what happens in a single make series. Yes, of course, they do have setup differences, but they're all, you can guarantee they're all either just managing the energy to then banzai it towards the end, or they're pushing. They're all pushing to the same degree. You haven't got anybody that's falling through the field. As we now jump to Rafael Camelo, who's big scrap here. That is Lucas Scolari that's having an argument. And well, look at these pack of reds. I don't think there's any team orders going on there. But again, when an opportunity is given, these drivers are to capitalise on this, we see a lot of smoke. Someone's gone into turn 2 a little bit hot.
Banky, I think Banky's had a bit of an issue here because he's dropped back. He's now behind Julian Kunze, now under pressure from Martin Barner. He was in second. I think he might have been the smoke that we saw down there at T1. The Red Bull Racing Esports driver of Bence Banky dropping from second place out of it. I wonder if there was an instant between himself and Pinces, because Pinces has jumped up to second place, has closed in on the gap on Hoogveld as well. I'm wondering what's happened up there. There's some potential spice.
Possibly, but
not too sure.
This is quite an uncomfortable position for Banky, because he can see how many cars are now snapping at his diffuser. And again, whilst he's still comfortably in that top 6, Fiducci again. He's been trying to muscle his way past Barner, but the one that is in the potential, is potentially going to gain from that is Ottaviani. Can he get enough momentum with that small mistake? Not quite. Fiducci is practicing his defensive driving skills here.
He certainly is. He's pushing it to the very limit. Not very long left on the clock. When we come round to finish this lap, there will be just one more to complete the end of lap 4, a 5-lap race. First of 3 this evening. The same format will be applied to the rest of the season. So 3 races in each of the qualifiers to get in. And at the moment, things are looking pretty good for Hoogveld. But, and there is a very large question mark over this, who has saved enough energy to get the checker flag? You can already see that Pinces is closing in on the race leader as Martin Barner is coming under further pressure from the Italian of Gianmarco Fiducci and Ottaviani behind. Scolari is not quite close up. There's been a big incident there. There's been a big incident there. Luciano Bedin, I think that was Pfeiffer as well with him. Those two are going to be dropping way down the order. That's given a few positions and allowed Markovic, Simone Prater as well to get further up the order. Here's with Ottaviani. There is Gianmarco Fiducci's contact, and the door is open for Ottaviani. Gianmarco Fiducci, this could ruin his whole night. Oh no, yeah, he is not happy with that. An incident between Gianmarco Fiducci and Martin Barner. With the way it is, just a single qualifying session, top 10 reverse grids, that could ruin the entire evening for Gianmarco Fiducci. Gergo Baldi inside the top 10 now in that position, but look who he's under pressure by on board with Jaroslav Honzik coming out of nowhere.
He's just been minding his own business, working his way through the field, hasn't he? We haven't looked at the Czech Republic champion for a while. Here he is, starting from nearly last. I think indeed was last, and now right in 11th position. I wouldn't be surprised if Honzik doesn't try and interfere with that top 10. He may just hold position, but I bet you anything Baldi would defend that top 10 spot. He'll want to sit right where he is. He's not interested in trying to make the move. As we look at our race leader, who's had a comparatively easy time of it, Mr. Hoogveld is only just now fallen under a second between himself and Pinces, who seems to be closing in a bit on him. Whether Hoogveld's just backing off a bit, he doesn't need to push. He probably just wants the timer to count down to 0 by the time he hits the line, which he should easily do. I can't imagine he's going to hit within 15 seconds get to the line. I know these things are quick; they're not that fast. So yeah, he's done exactly what he needs to do. So unless he just crawls to a halt now, that would be absolutely tragic if Hoogveld got that one wrong. Whoops! Don't scoot! Don't you dare make me commentator curse you, Mr. Hoogveld. I thought you were going to have a spin then.
It has been a truly fantastic drive, and I think first blood, it went in qualifying to Hoogveld. It's going to go the first race of the season here in the CUPRA E-Racing Competition. Goes the way of Christopher Hoogveld across the line, victorious here, perfect when it comes to his strategy in the race. Pinces and Kunze on the podium. We look further back at Gergo Baldi, who's not able to get back to Buxton. Honzik's had an issue. He's being pushed across the line. Used too much energy, getting a bit of assistance there from Bo Dixon. Gets to the line, a bit of smiles there in his side of things.
You know what he's done. You know full well what he's done. You called it.
Too much energy. Way too much. He did very well to come up in the order, though. Respect to him.
Yeah,
wow,
absolutely.
What a first race win, though.
Absolutely. Brilliantly done. And like you said, he just did exactly what he needed to do. Doesn't have the fastest lap, but you can quite clearly see that belonged to Pinces. I guarantee that was in that final lap or couple of laps to chase down the leader. But yeah, that was brilliant. That was exactly what he needed to do. But yeah, Jaroslav Honzik, he's just having a great deal of fun, isn't he?
He always seems to. We've said this time and time again when Jaroslav Honzik comes in as a guest round, whether it's in this or anything else, he always just is having fun. It doesn't really matter. Like he's there to race, he's there to race hard, he's there to win, same as everyone else in the grid. But always, he's streaming and stuff. He's just having a good time. And it looked like he did in that race. Put some pressure on Gergo Baldi, even though he kind of wouldn't have ended up that way with his energy consumption. Without being too harsh on Baldi, I would say impressive drive to get inside the top 10, but that's not where we would have expected a man of his stature.
Now, this race is going to be very, very interesting. Jaroslav Honzik has just demonstrated what happens when you just push as much as their racing instinct will allow. He ran out of steam, assumedly on the way down to the line. I can't imagine he was pushed a very long way. So you called it right at the beginning. The power is really, really tight. The reserves don't allow them to drive at 110% the whole lap long. But we're now going to have the top 10 reverse. So the likes of Högfeldt are now going to be technically out of position. They're there. We know why they're there, but he wants to get back up to the front again. So how much does he push? How much does he really challenge for that top spot? Or does he settle for where he is and hope for like an average result? Maybe he aims for 5th position instead.
Well, he needs to stay within the top 6. This is it. The top 6 move into the final. It doesn't matter necessarily about winning. It just matters about getting inside the top 6. For Christopher Högfeldt, he is currently 6 points clear at the top of Adam Pinches. Now, with this race and how it'll work, it'll be good for them if they're just staying inside the top 10. If they're just getting reversed up and scoring some decent points in race 3, that'll be enough to get them through into that grand final in December. Of course, if not, they'll have another chance to qualify. You can see the top 6 there. Before that, though, we'll head to race 2. And before that, a little word from our sponsor. The new era began then with a very fiery race and a well-deserved victory from Christopher Högfeldt. Is he going to repeat it? He's got a very, very tall order to do so. The CUPRA E-Racer, very, very fast, tight on energy in the 10-minute race, but fantastic speed and great racing we saw across that. It allowed everyone to get very feisty with each other. It allowed drivers that were on top of their management of the car to come to the fore. And I am very excited to see what happens in race 2.
I thought we'd have more incidents than that, if I'm entirely honest. I mean, no disrespect at all to our drivers, because they represent the very best of this kind of category, no doubt whatsoever. And I know damn well I couldn't do it. I would be off into the dust many, many, many times. But I was expecting the characteristics of the car to catch a few more people out. We did, of course, see a few incidents. We saw a few people locking up, and of course that impact with Fiduci. It'd been brewing for a while, hadn't it? Just the temperament got the better of him, and we saw that how he was very animated about that incident. Whether he feels it was his fault or not, who knows? But again, it's all going to be down to the disciplined drivers. As mentioned at the top of the show, and that's where the discipline just fell away, and probably didn't fall away by much, but it fell away by enough that the move that he was trying to into turn 1 ended up catapulting him into the wall.
Well, here we go then. Race 2 about to get underway. Lewis McGlade, Chris Buxton to take you through the season, as it were. Gergo Baldi then on pole position here for the second race after that reverse ahead of his countryman. Oh, it's a terrible start from Gergo Baldi once again. Drops back. That was not very good. He's going to be dropping back into the clutches. 5th, 6th, 7th place. It has not worked out. Norbert Posan to the race lead. There's some contact behind, but it's all gone astray for Gergo Baldi. Simone Prater, Markovic, Ottaviani all getting through up into the top 5. Gergo Baldi just manages to hang on to 5th place from Julian Kunze, Adam Pinches, Banki, Högfeldt, and Stoffmail behind. That really has not worked out for Gergo Baldi.
Not at all. And he will be kicking himself for that one. As we look at Högfeldt, he's already gained 1 from the start. Wow, lots of side-by-sides going on right behind him as Scolari. I think it was side-by-side with Barner. As we look at...
who's that going around?
It's Demori. It's Simone Demori. Oh, no, no, no. What a shame. Trying to make his way through the field, but sadly he's pushed it a little bit too hard. That's the sort of incident I was expecting a bit more of. There's a little bit too much right foot, and the tail just cannot deal with it. These things are very, very torque heavy, and they will try and dump a lot of power to the back wheels instantly. So that's sadly caught out Demori, but lots of battling going on up front. There is Banky. He's gained another one. No, I think he's lost another one, actually, as Kuntz is in front of him now. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling, but with that energy management, that's going to really be very, very testing for our drivers. No, Poussin at the top. Oh, that's wide. That's Kuntz wide. Well, that's very uncharacteristic. As on the tail now of the German, Julian Kuntz is really defending very, very hard against Banky, but then you've still got Pincis and Hookveld and Stoffmill and so many people right behind wanted to do something about it.
I think Jan-Marco Vinici had another instantly moved himself up the order as moved down the order behind even Demori. I think he's going to be moving to the back. I think he's out of the race. He is out of the race. Same with Luciano Bedin. Both of those two out of the race. Oh, skipping the Casio triangle. Watch out for a slowdown penalty. It's going to cost him the position to Banky. Might cost him position as well at the end of the start-finish straight to Adam Pinces as well behind. That has not worked out for Julian Kuntz. It's overcooked the Casio triangle. He's into the slipstream. This is a bit further up the order. Ottaviani putting pressure on Markovic into T1. Oh, it's so feisty up here. He does get it done, though, at T2. Said that watch out into that second corner. Beautiful stuff there from Ottaviani, doing the work for Virtual Drivers by TX3, who were looking to take 2 victories here tonight. The first one went in the well of Hogfeld, his teammate, and now looking, lit up the rear, though, coming through the S's. It's a hard car to drive. You said with the incident before with Demori that you were expected to see them slip and slide and maybe even lose it. You don't normally see them lose a car coming through here at Dunlop, and yet we still saw it happen. No matter how fast they're going, they're still fairly easy in a sense to break traction, and nice hands there from Ottaviani to recatch it. Markovic under pressure from Baldi. I'm going to call it early here. I don't think this car particularly suits Gergo Baldi as Virtual Drivers by TX3. Yet another one. Norbert Poulsen leads the way at the moment.
Yeah, he could well be right. Oh, no! Hookfeld. It looked like he braked at the right time. I think that was the error from Stoffmill there, who's just slammed into the back of him. And you never want to hit your car sharing your own colours as Hookfeld continues to pressure Pinces. Now looking at Martin Barner. I mean, how well did he do in the last race? Here he is down in 12th position behind Scolari and right with Kalicek right behind him, really putting the pressure on. But again, these short races, short races don't necessarily suit everybody. Some people just need time to kind of build up into the race. By the time you build up into it, it's over.
Yeah, I think Gergo Baldi prefers a longer race and prefers just that time to sort of let a race, know itself, take its time, take patience. No, not seeing that further down the order. As Barner's dived it down the inside. That could be a lovely move on Scolari. A little bit of contact on the exit drops Scolari into the path of Kedlacik. Jaroslav Honzik as well in the guest car, swooping through on the inside, and that black and pink guest car should be able to make the move. No, the slipstream works out for Kadlacik into Scolari, now pushing down to T1, now looking down the inside. This is all outside of the points paying positions. No matter where you look on this grid, it is crazy. Oh, he's just overdone T2 as well. Is Jaroslav Honzik going to be able to get through? He certainly does. Kadlacik down on his compatriot. My goodness me. It's mad.
It absolutely is. Yeah, as you say, some drivers do prefer the longer races, particularly those that are more accustomed to endurance racing. They have that natural mindset of needing to build up into a race, which of course they can't do here. Oh, Ottaviani getting a bit crossed up there. That's Prete. He's now having an argument with. He's up in the 3rd position now. Oh, and again the car getting unsettled. Degner one and nearly slammed into the back of his compatriot. Coming out of the 2nd Degner now on the way down towards the hairpin. Is he going to try and bounce on the inside? No, he knows better than that. Although behind him, that's very close. Oh, Markovic. He wants that position back again, even though they're in that top 6. It's not. Bearing in mind that they weren't finishing these positions in the previous race, so every point is going to count. They want to get as far up the grid as they possibly can. We now look a bit further down the field. Is Kovikov in 16th position. Beg your pardon. It was a 6 in the position number. I was partly right. As he's fighting off the German presence of Jaeger right behind him. So you're fighting absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, Sokovikov maybe a little bit lower than he would have wanted, but nevertheless, our focus returns towards the front of the grid. Look at how much they're pushing it through. Oh, diving it down the inside of the Casio triangle when there's nothing there. There's contact between the two. It's opened the door for Markovic to maybe get the cutback. Oh, it hasn't quite worked. This is joy for Norbert Posan leading the way over a second. 2 laps to go. Reminder that energy is going to be pretty tight in this race. You see Gergo Baudia getting back in line behind Markovic after a terrible start to this race. He'll be ruining his chance, thinking, oh, I could have done something with this. Wide, there goes Markovic, goes Baldi as well. Julian Kunze getting an invite to the inside, but denied before they get their door closed. Ottaviani under an awful lot of pressure. This is the all-important position then at the back end of the top 10, the reverse grid position for that second race. Martin Barner has got himself back inside the top 10, passing Mike Stoffmeal, which will annoy Stoffmeal to no end. He'll be thinking, oh, come on, we've got to do this in virtual drives by TX3. Could you imagine? Christopher Hookfeld wins the first race of the season. Norbert Posan wins the second race of the season. This could be Stoffmeal's chance to win a race and to do the duty for virtual drivers by TX3. Gergo Baldi finding no way through on Markovic yet.
No, he wanted to do that big move on the inside of the first. Degner gets really squiggly on the exit of Degner 2, but he's still nailed to the back of Markovic, who has now looked from the back of the Absolute Motorsport Racing Team entrant. He's had that number 2 staring him in the rearview mirror for absolutely ages. Of course, Baldi will still be ruining that really, really terrible start that he had. And look at the pressure behind. That's all the way down to, that's not a Hookfeld in 9th.
I'm assuming that's what happened to Gergo Baldi in the previous race, because he did qualify about 10th, then dropped down to 14th on the start. I'm assuming a very similar start in the first race is what plagued his chances in that one and what plagued his chances in this one as well. Kadlacik now on the back of Honzik after being passed by him. I think he'll want through. Back up to the race lead. Oh, the second lead that Norbert Posan had has absolutely gone. With 1 lap to go, Simone Prater is there, Ottaviani is there, Gergo Baldi is there on the inside of Markovic. Drive off the corner, the inside through the final kink, getting chopped off there from Markovic. Julian Kunze in the slipstream's not able to get through. And yeah, it's pretty racy. Look at the gap the top 3 have over Gergo Baldi.
Yeah, Markovic is not afraid to get his elbows out, isn't he? Goodness me.
Might run wide here.
He's going to run wide there, though. He was forced into the defensive line.
Beautiful.
You knew that was coming, didn't you? Baldi set that one up perfectly coming into turn 1. Is Markovic going to have enough time to counter-attack, though? That's going to be the big question. But, I mean, this is twice now that Markovic would have finished within the top, within the point scoring element of the race. So Markovic may just settle for where he is already with points on the board. But look at the top 3. They're not interested in settling for anything. They're, again, having a great old scrap for, trying to elevate their position on the podium.
None of these drivers have been victorious in a RaceRoom Racing Experience competition. Wow. Looking set to change that today. It has been a glorious day at the moment for virtual drivers by TX3, and we know what they're like with their social media and how their presence is in RaceRoom. They've got a lot of drivers on the grid near contact. That was very nicely judged from Simone Prater. Didn't quite get into the back of him. Just a few corners to go, a few more opportunities for Simone Prater to take his first victory and Norbert Posan to take his first. And if anything happens there, Ottaviani is there to pick up the pieces. Yeah,
absolutely. This battle is going to go to the line. Does anyone have anything left? But again, it's going to come down to energy management again. It's going to be in this pretty much the final section of the final lap when bad energy management is going to strike. So nothing is really decided until they have crossed that line. Again, Prete looking to try and make a move on the inside of 130R. He wants to set up realistically for the Casio Triangle. Has he got the run? Has Ottaviani got the run? They side by side. No, they're going to settle for where they are. Does everyone have enough battery left? We will see as we head towards the line for the final time in race 2.
Baldi wide. It might open the door for Markovic to get back through. Coming out of the final corner, though, things are going to look very, very good. Virtual drivers by TX3 take a second win. It's Norbert Posan, though, with his first in RaceRoom. What a victory. Defeats Simone Prater, defeats Ottaviani. Gergo Baldi gets 4th place. Markovic in 5th. Then Kunze, Banki, Pinches, Hookfeld and Barner will be the 10 drivers reversed. Corentin Pointeau receives a disqualification for speeding in the pit lane, and I'm assuming not serving a penalty courtesy of it. But either way, another win This car and that team, they are loving it. 3 drivers inside the top 10 again.
Absolutely. Again, this is down to consistency. The best lap was by Pinces down in 8th position. Look at that. And look at Bowdy. His fastest lap was quite some way off the rest, but still managed to come home in 4th position. Brilliantly done.
Yeah, Adam Pinches will be sat there thinking, God, why can't we have a bonus point for fastest lap? That's 2 fastest laps he's set between the 2 races. So clearly being very, very pacey in this car is Adam Pinches. Understands the limit, understands what he can do in this car. He'll be starting this one from 3rd.
Wow.
Is there going to be a victory for him, for the AAA Esports drivers? It'll be a AAA Esports 1st and 3rd in this race because Martin Barner, his teammate, has also been reversed up onto the pole for finishing 10th in that race. Could be looking pretty good for AAA Esports to finish Virtual Drivers by TX3's dominance so far.
Yeah, absolutely. But it all comes down to the start, as we saw Baldi, who was pole in race 2 and just bogged down very, very badly and was swamped. 2 out of 2 for him, unfortunately, on the bad start front. And that sort of thing weighs on your mind. You know you're under pressure, and just one tiny mistake is all it takes to suddenly completely undo the plan you had in your head. So whilst the AAA Esports are in a good position at this point, it's when the green flag goes out and how well they handle the immense amount of torque from these wonderful CUPRA E-Racing cars. See how well they can do coming into turn 1.
Yeah, reminder to everyone who's been enjoying the action over the first 2 races of the season and getting ready for that 3rd one. Prepare yourselves as well, because there is 2 more qualifiers to get into that grand final, and you can take part. RaceRoom Racing Experience from Steam. Go and get yourselves qualified for the Shanghai round, qualified for the Dubai Autodrome round, and if you can't get through in any of those, you've still got 2 time attacks left to go. 6 drivers from each of the qualifiers, 3 drivers from each of those time attacks sets a 24-car grid for that grand final. And when it comes around, we've got 4 races then. It's going to be fantastic, thrilling action when we get to it. Let's have a look then at the drivers coming through. I said about Virtual Drivers by TX3's dominance. Look at that. They will be loving it. At the top of the order, Christopher Hoogveld currently sat with 20 points, 17 to Buxton, 16 to Ottaviani. It's all very, very tight. Bent Banky outside of that top 6, as is Gergo Bowdy, as is Martin Stefanko. It's looking pretty crazy here. Prater, Kunze, Pinches, Ottaviani, Buxton and Hoogveld, your top 6 ready to go through. We'll get ready for race 3 after this. Things are looking pretty tight here in Suzuka as we prepare ourselves to find which 6 drivers will automatically lock themselves into that grand finale at the end of the season after 2 absolutely thrilling races so far. I think we are going to see yet another one. Another 10 minutes ahead of us, another 5-lap race around the Suzuka International Racing Course. Our 20-odd cars ready to go racing once again. A brand new electric car, the CUPRA E-Racer for the CUPRA E-Racing Competition. Lewis McGlade, Chris Buxton. Another race ahead of us. We're going to see some pretty fiery action here, Chris.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. And how close those points were. So we're not seeing one runaway driver. You could easily have assumed that Hoogveld, oh, well, he won the first race and he ran it fairly comfortably. He's just going to work his way through the field. No, they don't have the opportunity to do that. If they get a decent start or if people fall into trouble, sure. But, every point they have to fight very, very hard for. That is such a crucial difference in this setup. And it has created some amazing racing.
Well, here we go then. Race number 3 ready to go. And who is going to get the best launch? It was a terrible launch in the previous one from Gergo Bowdy. So watch back down the order at 7th place. We are underway here once again at the Suzuka International Racing Course. It is a good launch from Martin Barner. He is going to be able to cover off our first race winner, Christopher Hoogveld, into T1. Julian Kunze is the one who's trying to look his way around the outside in the second corner. It's been muscle wide there. I think Markovic on the inside should be able to get through on him. Gergo Bowdy as well. Maybe trying to find his way through. There's contact as we head into the S's as Julian Kunze plants one. Oh, who's that going round? Was that Simone Prater? It certainly was. Oh, dropping way down the order outside of the top 20. I think a little bit of contact as everyone concertinaed into the S's section. Marco Verducci already up into 16th place. A bit of a fiery start in the mid-pack, but looking pretty clean for Martin Barner.
Yeah, so far so good, but what a person to have right on your tail. Race 1 winner and one of the fastest in this region. It is Hookveld. My goodness me, that is a very uncomfortable position for Barner to be in. But look at right behind Princess and Banky. Once again, crossing swords. Kunze again in that top field. Markovic is as well. It's set to score points if they finish. If the race finishes in the order they're in. But you know full well what how well these guys get their elbows out. Every point being crucial. The top 6 or 7 was only separated by 5 points. So I don't think they're just going to settle for where they are. Just being in the top 6 right now, it may not be enough.
No, it may not be. I did see the tower move away as if someone had disconnected, but I don't actually think that's necessarily the case. Anyone in that top pack.
I think Markovic lagged a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was just a bit of a lag. So no panic there. Not yet. Anyway, we'll see how that one plays out. Bank though is under pressure from Markovic. We head into 130R. Barner, as you say, under pressure from Christopher Hookveld, and we know that Hookveld's his conservation of energy. He is the points leader here. And looking in a very ominous position to move himself into the final already. Gianmarco Verducci battling it out with Kedlacik in the background in 14th, 15th place, right on board with Markovic to complete that first lap. Perfect execution from Barner thus far, but he has a AAA esports driver either side of him. Christopher Hogfeld in the Virtual Drives by DX3 looking to get by the AAA esports driver of Barner. Pinces directly behind. I'm not sure I'd actually want to be Hookveld at the moment.
Oh, just receiving an update there on the point situation. The winning the race would not actually be enough for Barner at the moment. He needs disfortune to fall upon those behind him, basically, to try and secure his position into that crucial top 6. So that's quite incredible. Ottaviani then is still fighting on Garibaldi, who's had such a mixed race. Race is in this series. My goodness me, even a win is not enough.
Yeah, he's got to do a lot of work here, has Martin Barner. Well, he's doing everything that he can. He's got to hope that everyone else does a lot of work behind. He's only got one teammate as Scolari gets himself inside the top 10 to a crucial final point ahead of Stoffmeal, who would have been pretty frustrated in that move that Barner put to drop him outside of the top 10 to 11th place and allow Barner to get in this fortuitous position that he's presently in. Scolari at Spoon running wide under pressure is Stoffmeal from Honzik. The pressure is all over the place here as we complete lap 2, preparing ourselves for 3 further laps here at the Suzuka International Racing Course. The order at the moment, though, the point scorers, Barner getting 15 points, Hookveld, Pinches, Banky, Markovic, Kunze, Baldi, Ottaviani, Norbert Poussin, and Scolari. Could be good for Banky. He's not really scored as many points as we would have expected. Gogo Baldi, I'm absolutely sure at the moment, needs to do another round to qualify because realistically, the round has not gone his way. He didn't do well in race 1, only finished 10th place, 4th place in race 2, and now only 7th. That is not good enough when it comes to the point scores that he needs.
No, indeed, but all he can do now is just press on. He can't influence those behind him. Oh, that's wide for Kunz. That is not what he wanted to do going into turn 2. Baldi wasn't quite close enough to capitalise on that. This is what I was saying earlier. Every single point on all 3 races is really, really drastic. It's not the same people up the front every single time, although we have had regular point scorers in this series. Hookveld he doesn't need to pressure. He knows that he's in a comfortable position leading the way coming into this 3rd race, but nobody else is likely to have that kind of comfort. So Barner is doing just everything he can. All he can do is hope for a misfortune behind.
Our drivers moving through at least as points stand at the moment. Christopher Hookveld, Adam Pinces, who we currently look at. Behind him, Bence Banky is doing enough right now to get himself qualified. Julien Kunze, who's currently running in 6th place. That is enough. Norbert Poussin who's currently down in 10th place after that victory. Shows how important victories are. Maybe running 10th at the moment and didn't do a great race one, is currently inside that top 6. The last driver at the moment, I believe, is Otter Vianney, who's currently up there in a strong enough spot. There are your drivers presently qualifying into that grand final, noting the word being presently, because if Markovic gains a position then and Norbert Polstan loses the position, moves outside the top 10, we're getting word that it'll be Markovic that moves himself into that top 6. So plenty of pressure. And I'm going to say it now, we can absolutely see, who was that crashing in the background? I think that was Pfeiffer.
Oh, no.
It might have been. I thought I saw Jaroslav Hontek a part of that, so I thought I saw a pink car, but Pfeiffer dropping down the order at 130R. I don't know if he's been assisted into that or if he's done it of his own volition.
That's a shame. Oh, again, Hookfeld. I think he's just making himself known. He's trying to force the error. He's not wanting to try and make the pass. Again, probably energy conservation going on there. Pintes is, again, he's in a strong position, having been was second in the first round. So, yeah, he's in a strong position. Doesn't need to do anything silly. But those around him, again, it depends whether they've done the maths themselves. They may well just be pushing on as hard as they can just to score the maximum amount of points. It works for us. It gives us a lot more to shout about. Oh, no, that's right for Barner. Oh, I thought that was going to be an incident between himself and Hookfeld there. I think the Swede saw what was coming there. Probably just backed up a little bit to prevent a big old incident coming through Dunlop.
The thing is, for Christopher Hookfeld, at the moment, he's kind of thinking about this, thinking, yeah, I'm scoring good points. I'm scoring enough points to get myself qualified for this. At the same time, though, I kind of want to make sure that my team starts off this as good as possible. And imagine if Virtual Drivers by TX3 win all 3 races. The door's nearly open there. Oh, he got assistance there in the nearly a half speed. It's because it was a hairpin from Pinches, getting a little push from behind. Everyone concertinas up into the hairpin. Christopher Hookfeld will definitely want to win this race. But whether he's not going to take any risk to do so. He'll just, if it comes, it comes. He's not going to like dive bomb from 3.5 kilometers back as if it's the last position he needs to do to get himself in. Wide there from Pintes as well. Banky into 130R, potentially sniffing an opportunity here.
We will see. And he looks like he's trying to shape up a movie. Oh, who's that? Was that Kunz that was thinking about moving the inside of 130R? That, again, that's only ever going to go horribly wrong. But again, just showing his nose. Oh, it's Markovic that's making himself known. Right behind him is Kunz on the inside of the Cassia triangle. Can he get the move done? No. Yes, he can. Oh, can he? He's got the momentum. That is 5th position to Jürgen Kunz. Nicely done. And oh, Markovic is all over the place. That's almost being pushed along by Gago Bally. 3 wide coming into turn 1. This can't go well.
No, they're squeezing.
Oh, that could have gone horribly wrong. Gago Bally tried to get to the inside, but there's no room there. As Markovic tries to get to the inside, I think he was actually pushed to the inside of Kunz there. My goodness me, final lap. It is do or die, feast or famine for these drivers, and they know it.
Yeah, for Matej Markovic, that's not worked out. We said that he needed to gain a position, hope that Poussin loses one. Not going to happen here. He's lost a position to Kunze, so he's got to gain 2 now. And the final lap wide for the Mirror Esports driver of Gergo Baldi, and losing further time, further progress on Markovic. He's pushing hard. It's not quite there. Final lap of the race we are presently on. Barner still leading at the moment from Hookfeld, from Pinces as well. Things are looking good. Martin Barner yet to be a winner as well. We could see 2 brand new winners in RaceRoom competition tonight. Christopher Hookfeld already taken his victory earlier this evening, so we could see 3 different winners in the competition as well. Barner's got an immense amount of pressure with a few. I was going to say a couple. The next 4 cars have all won races in RaceRoom competition. Hookfeld, Pinces, Banky, and Kunze, and a couple of those are champion as well.
Oh, not much to have to deal with then for poor Martin Barner. Hungarian doing a brilliant job. In fairness, he's defended really, really well because Hookfeld's not made it easy for him. So all credit to Martin Barner. If he hasn't used up too much energy, which we will know in the next 30, 40 seconds, whether he's just kept enough in the tank. He's defending the inside line coming into 130R. Again, Hookfeld knows there's no opportunity into there. He wants to get a decent enough exit, but that was a great defense from Barner. Oh, that's someone going a bit wide. There was Banky that was a little bit too hot coming through 130R, but this should be Barner's first win.
It should be indeed coming through that final corner. Jaroslav Honzik as well, trying to get himself inside the top 10. We focus our attention towards the top. We salute Martin Barner. CUPRA Esports take their victory in the third race of the CUPRA E-Racing Competition. And it is a first for Martin Barner. Fantastic defensive drive from Christopher Hugfeld, from Adam Pinches as well. Jaroslav Honzik did get himself inside the top 10, so he didn't decide that it was a good idea to run out of energy this time. I think we'll double check that one once the standings come up. I think a couple of people might have left, which promoted him inside that position. We'll see those final standings. One thing that we do know for sure is this man has been victorious for the first time in RaceRoom competition. What a time to do it, and what a drive as well.
Yeah, he did everything he needed to do. Wow, what a stressful situation he would have found himself in. Fighting for every point he possibly could. Needing some bad luck on others, but wow, Hugfeld was just nailed to the back of Barner the whole race long, and he did it.
Christopher Hugfeld scores the most points of the event. We'll get those point scores to you. Unfortunately for Martin Barner, it wasn't enough. I did wonder, Jaroslav Honzik actually finished 11th place. Someone did leave in time, so that's why he was promoted up to 10th. So he's actually 11th place for Jaroslav Honzik. Apologies for you Yardia fans out there. For Barner, unfortunately, that won't be enough. We did say earlier in the race that a race victory wouldn't be enough. He needs misfortune to some of the other drivers in there. Nevertheless, doing a good drive carries momentum into the next round as being one of the race winners. He will hold a little bit of confidence there, don't you think, Chris, that come the next round, if he does qualify into it, come Shanghai, should be feeling pretty confident that he'll be able to get inside the top 6.
Yeah, definitely. That will really help the kind of mental game. He knew that he was able to fend off one of the best at this kind of setup, and someone that's already won a race in this particular event. So yeah, that should really help boost his confidence a bit. He knows what he needs to improve on, and very, very close, but it's got a lot to be quite pleased of.
So we've already confirmed then 6 drivers going through to the grand final, provisionally at least, because you never know how these things work. The first of 24 drivers to go through into that grand final in December. Of course, when we come back to Shanghai, same format, 10-minute races, 3 of them going to be pretty tight, pretty feisty. Energy will be a big thing there, especially with the size of things. It's a mile and a bit long back straight into a hairpin, which you'll have to get drive out of. That's going to be pretty crazy, don't you think, Chris? And then we finish the qualifiers in the Dubai Autodrome as well, which is not going to be particularly easy because we know that track's very tricky when it comes to track limits. Christopher Hugfeld then confirmed at the moment as the top of your points score, the provisional top 6 to go through. There is 3 virtual drivers by TX3 moving through into that grand final. Adam Pinces in 2nd place. Nice drives from him throughout the evening. Just consistency was key. Same with Julian Kunze. Great to see him back on form, scoring the same amount of points as Red Bull Racing Esports, Bence Banki, Ottaviani and Posan, rounding out those 6 drivers provisionally moving into the grand final. And what drives from all of them, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. And those going through to the next qualifier, I do not envy them at all. Shanghai and barriers. Oh, there's going to be some incidents there.
We've got some drivers as well. Like we said, Martin Barner, race winner, Gergo Baldi, Martin Stefanko will all be trying to make their 2nd attempt into the grand final. They'll have to do it again. They didn't do it here today, and more of a surprise because we would have expected Baldi, would have expected Stefanko. Obviously, Stefanko, that was none of his own fault. There was a disconnection in there, which hopefully will be rectified for him come the next round. I would expect to see some more. I kind of, without putting too much pressure on it, I would expect to see him qualified when it comes to that next round. Until then, though, we are going to have to wait 2 weeks until the next round at Shanghai. Remember, once again, if you do fancy yourself getting yourself on this grid, you can do so. It is free entry. Go and load up RaceRoom Racing Experience. Go and load up the CUPRA E-Racing Competition. The leaderboard is open now for Shanghai. Go and get yourself qualified for the grid. Join it. Try and get yourself into the top 6. Try and get yourself into the grand final where there will be prize money on the line. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us through this evening. Until the 9th of November, I've been Lewis McGlade. Alongside me has been Chris Buxton, and doing the broadcast, well, give him a bit of a shout out, Robert Wiesemüller. Thank you very much for watching. And goodbye.